What's good, Relocation Football League fans? It's your boy Smitty, and I am joined here also with Forbes. Mick's unable to join us, but we do have ourselves a podcast leading right into week one, which you guys already know is starting tomorrow. You guys have already seen that schedule, I'm sure, plenty of times already. I've posted it up, played it during the first opening game. Of course, we're going to dive into the week 0 games and everything, but based off of just a few games that you've seen so far, Forbes, what is your hype level for the season? And also, what's your thoughts on the gameplay compared to last year?
I definitely like the gameplay more so far.
Kind of
I'm
tough.
interested to see because we have an update like the day after the Miami game. Oh, did I cut
Yeah,
out? Like,
you did for a second, but you came right back. Yeah, we did have an update. I think we've streamed some
so
other games. I haven't really seen nothing too crazy from that. Some other guys said they've seen some things, but I guess we'll really find out this week. But I know there's some guys who've been waiting to see when we are going to drop our sliders. Of course, we got to play more games, get a few weeks in. Once we like what we're seeing, then that's when I'm gonna post it out and be like, hey, I'm pretty solid on these sliders. I'm gonna go ahead and put it out to the community. So that's just information for guys who've been asking about that. But of course, first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna jump into the games and recap what those games were. We only had 4 games in week 0. The first game, of course, was a banger between Miami and Notre Dame, as you could see from the thumbnail poster. And then after that, we're going to get another look at the top 25 heading into week 1, which doesn't change after week 0. So, I mean, that's still the same, but we're still just going to get another look at it. And then once we get a look at that, well, actually, we're going to look at that after the games, the top 25, and we'll go and get a look at the schedule on what do we have coming up for week 1 and what our predictions are. I have my spreads already made, but I did not post them yet in the betting channel of the RFL Discord. And so without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into that first game, which was, of course, the Notre Dame and Miami game. And this was a great opening game, man. It was competitive. Started out rocky at first for the Miami Hurricanes and quickly shifted. It looks like, the early case of the maybe just some jitters going on for your first game back, and more so directed towards Dante Taylor. Came in, second drive of the game, threw a pick 6. And then after that, he just seemed to really lock in. Notre Dame fought back pretty good, but ultimately the Hurricanes win it and start out their season 1-0, defeating the Fighting Irish 30-24. What are your takeaways from this game?
I think the biggest takeaway is what a great start it is for Dante Taylor. I know he's been trying to beat a lot of narratives around Miami never produces quarterbacks. They have a long history in the RFL, in particular, of just having bad quarterback play in the college series. So to see him start the season, 3 touchdowns, 400 yards, obviously after throwing that first pick, it's good to see because I know he didn't like Pecon's last mock draft where there were 6 quarterbacks taken ahead of him. He's really trying to change that. I am scared for Miami when it comes to their run game. I mean, if Dante Taylor's going to play like this, it's probably not going to matter as much. I know. A lot of people were saying Matty King is the second best running back after Bo Sanders, but if he keeps up this level of play, people aren't going to be saying that for very long. Notre Dame showed a lot of fight, but I think Miami controlled the game from start to finish for the most part, outside of the pick 6.
Yeah, they had a very great defensive showing, and we know that Miami came on board. It made history because this was the first game of the season that introduced the first time we've had college coaches in the RFL College Series, and the history of Miami has been deep, especially through the guy who got the job to be head coach of his alma mater College Series team, and that was, of course, CP Chris Polk, and he was able to, adjust because at first, before getting into games, just so people know what's going on, the authenticity of the college series is We want the teams to run what they run in real life in terms of at least the exact schemes. Where we give our coaches some freedom for the college series is that they can select, of course, adjust their aggressiveness and things like that, but they also can select different playbooks as long as it's in the exact scheme. Now, Polk, before the game started, he was testing out. Miami's a spread offense, but he was testing out a power spread and put his team in the power spread, trying to go with the LSU book. And each coach gets 3 extra books outside of the team-specific book to choose what they get. But then I had to remind them, I'm like, hey, man, we can't do that. It's got to be in the exact same scheme. So there are differences. And there are differences in ideology and the way that you attack a defense between the power spread and just a straight up spread. And so he wanted to go LSU. Unfortunately, he couldn't do it. He did his testing into that, but he had some backup playbooks and was like, hey, you know what? I know some books that I know likes to get the ball out there to the receivers, and Oregon was one of them. So he went out there and selected Oregon's playbook to play here in week 1. And it turned out great, man. Of course, it looked pretty rough in those first 2 possessions of the game, but outside of that, I mean, they were getting it done. Shout out to defensive coordinator Lito Loso. Lito, the thing about Lito as well, even though teams don't get to change any book in terms of on the defense side of the ball, they have to stay within that same exact scheme that the real team runs. And there is no team-specific defensive books. So because of that, really, there isn't much to do on the defensive side except for play around with the aggressiveness in a sense, and also the depth chart and the way that you're going to work the personnel to probably bring the best out of that defense that you've got. And what I can say is a lot of just about every adjustment that Coach Polk and Lito talked about that they were going to make, and I saw them do, worked out perfectly. One of the big things they talked about was taking the leading receiver in this game, Corey Polley, from an outside starting receiver for their program from last year and placing him in the slot. He was a little bit reluctant of doing that, sources say, but it turned out perfect for him as he was able to have that 9 reception, 151 yards for 2 touchdown performance. He was absolutely killing it out of the slot. Another thing about them, the adjustments that they made, it worked out really good. Zach Wood was a transfer from Penn State. When he transferred over to Miami, we expected him to play defensive end like he did last year, but they still have him starting on that line, but they switched him in at the defensive tackle position. And so he was eating. I think he led the team in sacks in this game with 3 of them working in that inside defensive tackle position, which just seems to be a great fit for him right now with how he fits into this offense. So a couple things like that really stood out in this game. You can definitely tell that the coaches really took their time and made sure that they were prepared for this matchup. Notre Dame, of course, not an easy team to just roll over. They're mainly all generics. I think they are all generics, but they have some returning names that we might remember exactly, like Isaiah Fuller at running back, who did better than when they played last year, but didn't do too much. And then we saw some bright moments from true freshman generic receiver John Moon. Not receiver, quarterback
Right.
John Moon, and he did pretty all right, but he had his moments. But they made it competitive, and Miami gets the victory. And they needed it, man, because if they did lose this game, it would have been a 4-4 all-time series record between these 2 guys. And I think this is a big-time rivalry that we got in the RFL College Series dating back, in the early years. Anything else you want to point out about this game before we move on to the premier games?
Just piggybacking off of what you said with Miami needing this win, because this is the college series now. We're in college, but we're not in the RFL anymore. 1 to 2 losses can get you kicked out the playoffs.
It is true.
So winning every game is what you need. You don't want to start the season with a loss and have to dig yourself out of a hole.
And we talked about that in particular too, about especially with the ACC, right? You expect Clemson, of course, the 2-time back-to-back national champions, to be able to get right back to the Natty, possibly win their third. You expect Miami to be back, even though they missed it by literally a game against Virginia Tech, which they'll be looking for that vengeance the last game of the season. But there's a couple teams that's put their names in the hat and are going to make some things interesting. A team in particular to look out for who hasn't played yet is Duke. And we will see, who can win those games, because that puts a lot of pressure on Clemson and Miami to have to do so. And so for them to come out here, get this victory against Notre Dame, that is huge. And they got a real big game coming up this week, which we'll get into. But yeah, that's enough of recapping this opening game, which was a great game between the Hurricanes and the Irish. But the premier games, not really too much to go in here. We didn't have any big premier games. We did have a shock in the second game. We'll go after this one. But Texas Tech, ranked 23rd in the country, was able to best Fresno State. Fresno State made it interesting. They were neck and neck with them, but then at the end of the day, Texas Tech was just able to separate enough and get it done. Texas Tech was a team in the Big 12 also that was quite competitive last year, and boy, they needed that victory to start things out as the ranked team, not looking to lose that moving forward. Fresno State had a nice little fight though to them, but at the end of the day, it was the Red Raiders that came out on top 30-20. Anything you want to say about this game before moving on?
Only that if Texas Tech plays like this again,
Oh yeah, cut out.
it's Fresno, which is a lower rated team. I don't expect them to be ranked for very long.
Okay, can you repeat that? I think we got the gist of your message, but yeah, it cut out a little bit in between.
If Texas Tech plays like this against better competition, they're not going to be ranked for very long.
Yeah, I think the top 25 rankings this year is definitely going to be a lot more different.
Movement.
And yeah, I don't think it, because there was a lot of teams last year when the season ended that didn't make sense for them to even be in the top 25. Hopefully they fix that. We'll see what the rankings look like moving forward. And this was the shocking game to me. FAU, Florida Atlantic, was able to go on the road and defeat Oregon State. Many had Oregon State walking out of this victorious. The spreads that I put in the Discord had the same thing. They were a higher rated team all around in terms of, what the game says at 64 overall across the board. FAU was like in the 50s. I think they were 57. But one thing, yeah, well, what can throw you off about the ratings in this year's game is the fact that those ratings they tell you the sum of the team as a whole. They don't summarize the starters. So in the past, it was about the starters, and Madden has been about the starters. Last year in CFB25 was about the starters and their cumulative overall rating and potential. But in 26, it's the whole team. So if you go back and look at those two rosters, FAU actually had more talented guys on their team than Oregon State did, and it showed. And at the end of the day, FAU, do I expect them to be that much of a talented team? No, I just feel like this year's Oregon State, which, I mean, to be ranked as 64 overall and overall talent anyway, is pretty bad. This Oregon State team might not be too good at all as they were last year. They were pretty solid last year. I think they went 9-3 last year and finished like 9-4. Or yeah, I think they finished 9-4. So they had a good season. But this year, not a good start at all. FAU getting the victory 38-20. Anything you want to say on this about this game?
Just like you said, FAU surprising win. Again, these are two lower rated teams. And they're still it's literally week 0. We're still trying to figure things out about teams.
Yeah. And then the last premier game that we had, boy, Cincinnati put up points. Most points right now that we've had. 55-21 over Washington State. Of course, they were the favorites to get it done. Mo Klutz, generic quarterback for Cincinnati. We saw Pecan mentioning his name at the live and even in the Discord a little bit. And he had a great performance. He even ran one in for a touchdown, juked out a defender, and walked in for the 6 points. Nothing really too much to say here other than, Cincinnati doing what we expected them to do, but hanging 55 points is a good start for some momentum if you are the Bearcats. And Washington State, man, sucks to be Q. You know what I mean? I know he's not a real Washington State fan, but he is an alumni of this program. Best receiver we seen come out of it. They had some big moments though from their receivers. There was one play where it was an RPO slant, receiver caught it, and he was able to turn it up the field for a long touchdown. But really didn't have too many bright spots and scored the last touchdown of the game. So it really could have been 55-14. But yeah, anything you got to say about this game?
Uh, Not really. I mean, I was expecting it to be a 30-point win, but Cincinnati was the better team. It came into the things. I'm just expecting a lot of scores like this in the first couple weeks because that's when the Alabamas are playing the FIUs. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So until we start getting to conference play, I'm expecting a lot of blowouts like this.
All right, yeah, and not this week, but I guess once we get the full week, which is coming up and starting tomorrow, we'll start diving into potential generic players that are trying to make a name for themselves, trying to put their name, of course, on the map for the RFL draft. I'm still going to try to work out how I feel about which players I pull and stuff like that, which ones I keep in. To fill in the RFL draft, which I'm trying to have the entire draft class be created and straight from the college series. So I definitely got the options to fill in, but I won't just be taking the best guys every time to fill in. Some guys I might just prolong their careers and think, hey man, maybe he can stay in another year and become one of the big household names, and I'll go around the country doing that and stuff. Generics, of
Vince
course.
Hammer.
Huh?
I said some Vince Hammer
Yeah, some Vince Hammer
doing
with
it.
a couple guys that generics that we seen that got some high overalls, things like that. I still might pull a few. Who knows? I still might pull a few, but yeah, I gotta do what I gotta do to try to fill in those spots. But yeah, that is it for the Premier games and everything that happened in week 0. Big wins for all of those programs. Before we jump into the week 1 schedule, to show you guys what the matchups are, when they are, and who we predict to win them, and what the spreads are to bet on, let's go ahead and get a look at the top 25 again, which from week 0 to week 1, it doesn't change. So I got week 0 on here, but it's the same thing. Number 1, we got Georgia, and I'm going to just go in order. Georgia, Clemson, Alabama, Miami, Ohio State, Illinois, Oregon, Oklahoma State, LSU, Virginia Tech, Nebraska, TCU, Ole Miss, SMU, Oklahoma, UConn, Notre Dame, Baylor, Tennessee, Boise State, Memphis, North Texas, Texas Tech, Penn State, and NC State. So that is the top 25 right there. But what I will ask is, what teams do you see not being on this top 25 for long, or possibly even by the time we jump into week 2?
I think UConn is the number one team I see falling. Memphis, North Texas, Texas Tech with how they've played. I know Virginia Tech got some prospects in, but I'm not sure as their team as a whole is a top 10 team in the college series right now. Those are the big ones that stand out to me.
So if you had to go with a top 4 teams in the country, would you say that the top 4 here, not in any particular order, is pretty accurate, or do you see any of the other teams outside of the top 4, or a team that's not even on the top 25 list getting in the top 4?
If you would have said top 5, I would have agreed with you. But I think Ohio State is a top 4 team.
So which one of those 4 teams do you think will they'll take the spot of by the end of the season? Well, at
That's
least
hard
by
to say.
playoff time.
I'm not going to discount, Clemson's back-to-back titles. I'm going to leave them in there. Alabama has the reigning Heisman, and I'm not gonna discredit CP when he's doing over there in Miami. So I guess knock out Georgia and move in Ohio State.
All right, man. Questions are also out there for you in the community. Comment what you guys think. Uh, who you think the top four teams will be by the end of the regular season going into the playoffs. Um, and yeah, so that's the top 25. We'll see that, of course, change after this upcoming week. So let's go ahead and jump in to the schedule. Now, this is going to fill up the entire screen. So here we go. Again, you guys seen this multiple times in a few games and stuff like that. Some of you guys know what's coming, but just in case if you didn't, you missed out, this all starts tomorrow. Not every game, but game one. Robert will be in the booth 7 or 7:30. Of course, he'll let me know. But Miami taking on LSU, number 4 versus number 9. And Coach Polk is right back in the limelight in just 3 days, man. We're just gonna go by each game in order. I'm gonna go ahead and talk about the spreads that I do have for these matchups real fast. I do have them where they okay. Yeah, and I have let me see. Oh, I got okay, wrong list. Where are we at?
This is real life. If I was Miami's athletic director, I'd be suing you.
Yeah. 3 days is crazy. Yeah, so I have Miami projected to win this one, despite being on the road with a spread of 2.5. So I got Miami winning by 3 points. Do you
I'd
think
go
they
with that.
do it?
Yeah, I agree with that. I'd go Miami with the spread.
All right, so Miami both agreeing, getting
UConn,
going 2 and
it's
0.
not. Oh,
Yeah, we're
it's a
going.
neutral site. They're playing in the Mercedes-Benz Dome.
Yeah, well, we're going. We're the next day will be the next 2 live games. So the next game will be Ole Miss versus Virginia Tech. Robert will be in the booth again, same time more than likely as the Monday night opener tomorrow. Um, I have this game in favor of Ole Miss by more than a touchdown over Virginia Tech. What do you think about that?
I think I'm gonna go with our new prospects. I'm gonna have Virginia Tech winning this one.
Okay, so you got Virginia Tech coming out on top of the Rebels. And then following that game at 9 p.m. Eastern, number 25 NC State versus number 19 Tennessee. I have Tennessee as the favorites to win by 14 or more points.
I'm going with Tennessee, but I don't think I'm going with the spread.
Okay. I will put this out there, guys. You're going to hear some crazy spread numbers, and mainly it's because it's college football. And
Yeah.
not going to lie, I do think that a lot of these will be justified after we see what happens in week 1, but we'll see. But all right, we won't use the last game. We'll save that last live game for when we get there. But let's go into the premieres starting on Wednesday. Akron versus Ohio State. Obviously, we're going Ohio State here, but I got a spread of 30.5 for Ohio State. And
It's
honestly, I'm going to say I have a 30.5 spread, not only for this Akron game, but for any FBS team taking on an FCS team. The spread for the first week of playing, I have at 30.5 points, so to win by 31 or more.
they're playing Akron. They better win by more than 30. I'm going Ohio State with the spread.
All right. And then we have at 4 p.m. Eastern, same time, this game and one more. We got West Virginia, excuse me, not West Virginia, Western Michigan taking on this hot Illinois number 6 ranked team. And so this is our first time being able to get a look at Vince Hammer and, of course, his new receiver, Josh Prince, true freshman user submitted player over there. I got Illinois by 14.5, so by 15 or more points. Kind of feel like I lowballed and probably could have went up higher than that. But what do you think? They probably got him cut out. You there, Forbes?
Oh, did I freeze?
Yeah, you
Oh,
froze.
there we go.
There you go.
I'm gonna go with the hammer, man. I'm gonna go with Vince Hammer in Illinois
All right, by
with the spread.
15 and a half with the spread. Okay.
Yep.
And of course, we got new head coach for the Florida Gators and former Baylor alumni and Jordan Granger uh, taking on the FCS team his first game. So should be easy pickings here for new coach in his first game, getting his first dub, spread 30 and a half over FCS.
It's an FCS team. I'm taking Florida.
All right. And we move on to the 6 p.m. slot. West Virginia taking on Virginia. And in this matchup, I chose West Virginia to come out on top with a spread of 10 and a half. So more than 10 points I expect them to beat Virginia by.
I'll take West Virginia in that with the spread.
All right. Other 6 p.m. game, Vanderbilt versus Stanford. Stafford, am I saying that? I think it's Stanford. Yeah, Stanford. Got Stanford by 14 or more points over Vanderbilt.
I'm gonna take Stanford, but not with the spread.
All right. And then we have North Texas versus Colorado. If you can see here, a lot of people shocked to see North Texas ranked as the 22nd best team in the country. Colorado, we know, has got the best cornerback overall rating wise in the country. It was new submit that just got there, and I'm expecting them to defeat North Texas by more than 14 points.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Colorado with their 99 overall corner to win by at least 15.
All right. Then we have a big showdown here in Texas in the Big 12. Number 23, Texas Tech. You were just talking about how they were able to escape Fresno State, not in too great of a fashion. And this will be our first look at TCU. They'll be at TCU. And the number 12 ranked team in the country, I have them coming out on top of this game by 13 and a half points. So 14 points or more.
I'm gonna take Texas Tech.
Texas Tech, okay. And then another coach game. Baylor getting coached by former College Series alumni and Rodney Goins, taking on my second favorite team in college football, the Maryland Terrapins. I do got Rodney coming out on top of that one, man. I think he defeats the Terrapins by 4 more points. Should be competitive though, I think.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Rodney here just because I know if he loses, people are just gonna clown his jersey number even more.
All right, so that is it for the Wednesday premier games. Let's go and jump into the Thursday premier games. All the 4 p.m. games are against FCS. So we're taking USC, Oregon, and Oregon State. No, excuse me, Oklahoma State to win their games.
Yeah.
The spread is still the same for all 3 games to win by 31 or more points. Do you see all 3 of them doing that?
They better.
Yeah. So we'll go right past there. And we got Arizona taking on number 3 Alabama, 6 p.m. Eastern. I have, of course, the Crimson Tide coming out on top of this one with a spread of 24 and a half. So you got them winning by 25 or more points.
Yeah. If Jaden Young wants to have a repeat Heisman season, wants to try and pass Dylan Lewis for the number 1 overall quarterback, he's gonna have to have a strong season and do it again. So they need to come out firing. They need to win.
All right, then, of course, same time at 6 p.m., we got a battle of 2 ranked teams here. The 2 teams you already called out that you don't even expect to make the top 25 by the end of the season. Got number 21 Memphis versus number 16 UConn. I've got the Memphis, what are they, Tigers? I never knew what Memphis Tigers by 4.5.
Yeah, I'll take Memphis over UConn.
All right, and then we get to our last 6 p.m. Eastern game, and this is my favorite team in college football, the UNC Tar Heels, North Carolina, taking on Mississippi State, the Bulldogs. And I've got my Tar Heels coming out on top by a touchdown or more.
I'm from North Carolina, so I'm gonna go with the Tar Heels.
All right. And we get down to our last two premier games, which kind of got some thunder behind it. I think these can be some competitive games. I've got number 14 SMU versus number 15 Oklahoma. Oklahoma, I got them winning by 6 or more points.
I'm gonna take SMU. I think the ACC is gonna be really strong this year.
All right, and then we get to our last premier game before we get to our final game of the week, and that is Texas, who was unranked, had a very underwhelming season last year, and they're taking on the Arizona State Sun Devils. Arizona State actually is pretty decent this year, so I got the spread a little bit low down there because Texas, they got to prove that despite all the great talent that they had, still coming back from last year in that disappointing season, they got to be able to beat Arizona State, a solid team, by at least 8 or more points. Do you think they do it?
Yeah, I'll take Texas with the spread.
Yeah. And that is it for the Premier Games. Final game of the week is number 2 Clemson versus number 1 Georgia. Should definitely be a banger. And of course, that's why it's the game of the week. Very difficult to choose this because, I mean, even though they're 2-time back-to-back national championship winners, Clemson is on the road in UGA. Definitely is going to be a banger. I'll be in the booth calling this. And so I'm definitely going to make sure to bring the energy for that one. But you can't go wrong with the national championship winners. So until proven otherwise, I'm taking Clemson, and I got them with a 2.5-point spread.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Clemson as well.
All right, so there you have it, guys. Week 1 starting up tomorrow, Monday through Friday. This is all the action. So make sure to tune in. Miami right back up on the battlefield, taking on LSU, was a stacked team. They got a 99 rated defense. We'll see if Miami can start out 2-0 with that tough gauntlet they have to start out this season. Can they take down Notre Dame and the LSU Tigers? That's going to be interesting to see. If so, look out. Miami's going to be a tough team to have on your schedule, even though they are anyway, but even tougher for those top-powered teams. And so that is really it that I for all that I have for the podcast. Of course, there wasn't a lot of games we had to dive into. I went into of course, the schedule. We looked at the top 25, everything else that pertained to that. So I guess what we'll do, let me go ahead and turn everything back on here that was here. I guess we can open it up to the community, man. This podcast was literally about 35 minutes long. Again, can we expect it to always be that way? I don't know. Of course, probably not with only going over 4 games. But is there anything you want to talk about just before we open the floor for guys to look at this? I'm gonna go ahead and post these spreads out here too for guys. But anything you want to dive into before we open the floor?
Um, you said earlier about the draft that you're gonna try and make sure that everyone in the draft class is from this college series,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, so I think that adds a lot more excitement, for not only for us as coaches, but for the fans and other players to be like not more dedicated, but like more hype, more excitement for like a Memphis UConn game. You know, those players can be drafted now. Players we might not have even heard of, thought of. Like last year, if this game would have happened, no one would have cared because most likely we were never going to hear those names again.
Yeah.
Now every player on every team matters.
Yeah, that's
That's really
definitely
important
huge.
for everyone
Yep, and just the biggest draft pool, of course, we've ever had, of course. And I'm getting some questions coming in. Let me see. Oh, let's you said Texas. Oh, these stars are back. Yeah, Texas is coming back with their starting guys. I'll let them be an unranked full. Yeah, there's a couple other teams that's unranked in the top 25, a team that's unranked that I think will definitely end up on there. We talked about Texas. USC is not on there. But again, you look at the seasons they had the year before. Texas went 7-5. USC went 6-6 during the regular season. So I mean, it's understandable why they're not where they were.
I have Minnesota as a sleeper unranked team that can
Okay,
come in.
Minnesota as well getting in there. Um, Trying to think, is there any other team? Mm, I don't know. I think we hit the main ones. We think the main ones that we talked about are going to bring their faces up in that top 25. Let's see what else. What questions we have? Neutral game. He's asking me who is your favorite for the Natty. I'm gonna be honest here, guys. I feel like it might be either Ohio State or Clemson again. That's just how I feel. But
That's exactly what I was going to say.
if things change up, I think if it's not either one of them, I think it's a good chance it could be Alabama or Miami. Uh,
So you just took the top four teams that I said earlier.
yeah, I think if it's not one of
I also
them,
think it's one of those
got a
four.
shot. Yeah. So that's
I
how
think
I'm
I would
feeling.
personally love to see I'd love to see Miami finally win.
Yeah. That would be dope to
Like I
see. I mean, same for Bama
they're
too, man. Bama's had some great
yeah.
seasons. They've went to the national championship before, and of course lost in a very close, heartbreaking overtime game against Ohio State, which of course helped contribute to their three-peat. Um, and then of course, like you said with Miami, they've never been to a national championship. They've had heartbreakers. They could have made it the year that they had to play Ohio State, and crazy interception and a low scoring game, cost them that back in the mod era. So it's a lot of drama between those two squads. It's crazy to even think after 7 seasons of college football play in the RFL, there's only been 3 teams that have won a national championship, and that is Ohio State, Clemson, and Georgia, who was the only undefeated team, is still the only undefeated team in college series history to win a national championship. So, hey, that's just saying a lot.
And now that you've built everybody, how do you feel about, getting a Duke commit, a Tulane commit, some
His PC's
Georgia
jarring, man.
Tech commit, like all these players all over instead of just the big schools? Oh, am I back?
Yeah, you're back, but I think it sped back up, man. I can't wait to take a baseball back to this PC when I get a new one or figure out the problem. But yeah, so I love it, man. I like the fact that the talent is spaced out. That's more games for people to be interested in and to tune into. Stacking teams. If it works out well, it can be cool and all. But again, it thins out the what the other teams, the games you want to tune into. But also with every player being draftable now, that already bigged it up. But seeing these guys spread out and trying to get that opportunity to show like, hey, we're dogs and we don't have to go to those top end teams that's usually winning the national championship team to show our worth. I mean, it's worked in the past. I mean, in the RFL College Series, we back in the mod era only had 32 teams to work with, but we had those lower end teams. Like again, just a great example would be Q. Talking about his time with Washington State, and that team was awful in the college series. But I mean, that dude was clearly a dog. Came out the draft, one of the best receivers. So I think there's definitely chances for guys to come out and do that, especially if they spend their time right. Guys who want to do the one and done, it's cool, it can make it happen, but that's more of a grind effort. That's if you try to take that route, definitely got to put in work. You might can get blessed coming to decent overall, go to a team that desperately needs you at your position, but you're definitely still gonna have to put in the work. But guys who stayed at least 2 or more seasons and have shown that consistency, that's where you're really gonna start having that question of like, okay, I think I put on enough. I see where I stand amongst my peers and my position group, and I think that I have a shot to be in the draft in a decent spot, go to a decent team, and come out and make an impact. And so that's really what it's about. This college series is all about the resume, and I think that guys are starting to take that more seriously, understanding that they don't have to stack up these teams. You can never even sniff a playoff and still be one of the top draft picks in the RFL. So as long as your player's balling, fights doing good against some good competition, you got a shot. So I advise anybody who's wherever you're at, ball out, do what you got to do. And I know there's going to be some guys who did go to those schools you talked about that are going to transfer out and probably go to
Yeah,
bigger schools. And that's understandable. At least they get their name put out there, uh, at them other
well, that
smaller
makes
schools.
sense, especially draft wise.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Tulane receiver, he could set 2,000 yards, but if he's playing against Fresno State every week instead of Alabama, how is the guy on Georgia who has 1,500 going to compare to the guy at Tulane with 2,000? But if he goes there, has a great year, it makes sense for him to transfer to bigger school and show that he can do it again somewhere else
Yeah.
against better
So
competition.
yeah, so I mean, we see guys making power moves already too, using the NIL, already
Man,
understanding. Yeah, I mean, it's a couple other guys, but I mean, this is the new age era that we now get to of college ball and the RFL, and I just love to see all this, coming into fruition and having this effect that it has. Let's see what other questions we got out there. What team are you most excited to watch this year? Um, it's so many, bro. Uh, I like what I saw from Miami, especially with the coaches and how dedicated I know they are behind it. But I really want to see um, Bama the most, because I mean they got so much talent. They did so great last year. Unfortunately fell short and everything. Had to play the big dogs, but I want to see what that offense is looking like, what that defense is looking like. I know Dior goes in the lab too, and he puts in crazy work. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting to see if he can lead Bama to their first national championship. He's definitely got the shot to. We're going to see. But definitely want to see if Alabama can be as explosive as they were last year. Any team that you're very excited to tune into this year for CS8 Forbes?
I don't think there's a particular team. More so is like just diving back into college football.
Mm-hmm.
In the RFL and NFL, there's only 32 teams, so many different playbooks and schemes. And then you get to college football where there's 100 teams and everyone plays differently. Everyone has different playbooks. Everyone has different styles. So just seeing how they all match up against each other in different games and whatnot. Because I know, like especially in college, there's some teams and playbooks that are just hurry up every play, no matter what.
Yeah.
That's just there's so many more different play styles. It's exciting to see it all. If I had to be a team, it would be getting to see some of those new generics ball out. Like I said his name twice already, but seeing Vince Hammer at Illinois, just
Illinois.
seeing what he's all about because he's a 90 plus overall generic quarterback who is new this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just seeing that. Minnesota has a lot of good players, but a terrible offensive line. So seeing how that's going to work out for them.
Yeah, some interesting scenarios there. Same question, but except targeted more towards players. So, any prospects most excited to see? Of course, I'm like you said, Forbes excited to see these new generics to see who really stands out, who's going to be able to punch their name in to probably be a one and done generic to be able to fill in the draft. Again, the more top end guys though, I'm probably just going to keep them around for another year. Unless they have like a really solid season and stack up well against the draft for the most part. Anyway, um, we'll see, right? But in terms of users, I kind of want to just see those players who went to smaller schools, man, and see how much of an impact they're able to make, and what attention they bring, and what that might do in the transfer portal. Where they might go, things like that. So, is there any players you're interested in tuning into?
Um, I mean, it's kind of like you just the guys who went to smaller schools. It's gonna be fun to watch Rohan finally be in be involved in all of
Oh
this. I know
yeah,
he's been a watcher for a long time. I think same thing with is it Josh Prince? I think
yeah,
I've seen his name a lot. He finally has a player.
yeah. He's the
So
one that
seeing
asked the question. Yeah.
yeah. So just seeing guys who have been here for a long time but haven't been in the series yet, that's gonna be fun to see them finally be involved that way.
Yeah, and Malik Carter asked, draft class about to have over 500. Well, I think the max for the draft class is 450. So I'm looking to try to fill that entire thing up. It's a lot of work, guys. Trust me, it's definitely a lot of work. But, I really like my staff that I have with this league right now. We're growing, man, and guys are really, really ready to work. You put in work. I'm telling you guys right now, all the premier games already for week 1 has been knocked out. That's how in literally about a day, day or two. Literally, 2 days. So dudes are working. That they're knocking those out so fast to the point, we can have those extra games that did not get a chance to get covered as much at all last year. Shout out to Pecan because he's really on that. Again, we'll put the message out there though, bro. Make sure you don't burn yourself out. But he's very excited. You guys, if you know Pecan and his excitement towards college football and the college series, I could see him having that same type of energy. When I first started off with the RFL and I was grinding something crazy streaming games. So I feel where he's at with that. But yeah, we got a great staff, a really good staff, and I'm going to utilize them also for building the draft class in terms of the players. And they're not going to know the ratings, of course, and things like that. But I'm gonna have them, making as soon as Madden drops, we should be a few weeks in, about 3-4 weeks in the season, I think. And by that time, I'm just telling guys like, hey man, so these are the guys for sure that I think is gonna go into this draft. And then I'm going to just start slowly throwing other names in there from the entire, you know, nation to see, to fill in spots. And of course, that things like that might change last minute because I'm going to have a week where you guys as players will have to declare for the draft, and it will be before the season ends, most likely during the playoffs. So you got to declare for the draft, I think before the bowl games, because I mean most guys do that anyway, right? If I'm not mistaken, and that's why they don't play in bowl
Yeah, they
games.
usually declare. Yeah, they declare before the bowl game.
Yeah, so I think after conference championship games, guys, that's where I'm gonna have like maybe the first week or two be draft declaration week. So if you don't put your name in that, that's where okay, you're not going in the draft by this time, and I'm gonna have to find the fill-ins if your name was potentially on the list. But honestly, you can go into the draft anyway if you decide you want to. So if you decide you want to go into the draft, you're already taking a spot. I will not deny you getting into the draft. All right, so you'll fill in unless we hit a max capacity at a position, and I'm like, okay, well, we have full quarterbacks for the draft already filled up, um, and I'm going by order at that point. Even if you're the better player, if you don't declare before somebody else does, and that spot is filled, you're going to have to play another season. But
You're
I don't
still
see
gonna
that
have.
happening often. Is that
You
what?
still gonna. You still gonna like talk to them. Like the guy who just committed to Duke, say he only has like 900 yards after 1 year and says, "Hey, I want to go." You're still gonna be like, are you still gonna recommend? I know you used to do that. You used to tell players whether you think they should or not, and then it was up to them.
Well, I never, I don't think I ever told a player if they should or not. It's literally up to them because I don't want to have, if that's how they feel and they want to go, they go. So I usually it's the community that does that. Like if this dude talking about, hey, I'm trying to go in the draft, and then they're like,
I thought you had said that sometime before that like you would let them know like if they were on the fence, you or whatever, but like if someone really really should stay, you would let them know that that's what you think.
I guess some in some cases like pointers, like if a guy's played one season and he's like, I give the
Average.
same warning that I gave now. I'm like, okay, of course not going to reveal anything of what you're going to be, but you did play 1 year, and so understand that more than likely going to have an impact on what you think your rating compared to everybody else who's played multiple will be. So stuff like that, I'll say. But
Yeah.
other than that, no. That's up to you guys to really gauge where you are amongst your class. And if you feel like you did, you've been that guy, then punch your ticket in the
Well,
draft.
Ghost Jet, just because this is one of the benefits of being a game. Everyone who declares for the draft is still going to play in their bowl games. Like
Yeah.
there's no risk of like there's no. I know you had is injuries on this year, the wear and tear and
Nope.
stuff. I
All
know,
that's off.
yeah, all the
Wear
injuries
and
and stuff
tear
are off.
is on, but it only affects you during the game, and it only slightly carries over from week to week, so it's not a big deal.
Yeah, so like everyone who's declaring is still going to play in their bowl games. They're not going to just sit out because they declared for the draft.
Yeah. And a good question right here from Pecan. He says, which coaches you think are under the most pressure in terms of expectation? Um,
I
it's
didn't
a
hear the
lot.
question.
He said, which coaches you think are under the most pressure in terms of expectations? Well, of course, I'd say you, Pecan. Guys won 3 national championships consecutively. Was there last year, lost it. Uh, I know you've been diehard for Ohio State, and really you're the guy who really kicked them into gear to accomplish all that. So it's a lot of pressure, on you to see if you can continue that tradition that you really started there before now really being able to be full hands on. Same deal applies for CP. Just really the winning culture for Miami, right? We expect him to win a decent amount of games, make the playoffs, but the pressure is mainly on him to, hey, can you take them to that next level? Can you get them to a national championship? Can you win them one? I
So
say the pressure is mainly on you guys.
what about doesn't Clemson have a coach Diamond?
Yeah, Clemson. Yeah, there's definitely some pressure on him that just naturally off the fact that 2 national championships. Uh, are you able to get them a third in a row? That'll be crazy. And as long as you keep them somewhere around where they were, which is just pure dominant anyway, which I mean that's not easy, especially the schedule they've got. Um, there's some pressure there, but I do think the most tension lies on expectations for Pecan and
CP.
CP for
Those would
their
be
teams.
my top two as well.
Yeah. Let's see. Where is the college series? Okay, Pecan's handling that. They're not even. Yeah, I wouldn't say USC because I mean they didn't. They used to be pretty solid back in the day. Made a natty back in CS. I think it was CS3, and they've been a pretty good team. Last year they went 6-6. Didn't have any coaches, no generic players like that. So with alumni Dan Severio there, it's gonna be interesting just to see what he does if he can build that program back up. Because again, they just came off a 6-6 season, so not too much pressure there. I think they can do better than that for sure, especially with the roster they got. Say look at College Series Plus. Illinois 15-0. Josh Prince says. State play Tulane. Sleeping. Okay, mainly guys talking about their squads here. Do you think UCLA, Minnesota, week 2 will be premier game? We're not going to really know about what games is going to be what, but we're going to do it week to week. So we don't want to do a full schedule thing ahead of time. So I don't know what in week 2 will be a premier game or not. So will we see what the rest of the schedules look like? No, we'll see what the rest of the schedule. I'll imagine it. Yeah, that we won't do like that schedule reveal that we did with those individual teams. That's the best we could do. We're definitely not going through the entire country because that would have took forever. It's I think team to watch out for is USC. I do agree with that. They're not ranked this year. Good chance they end up in top 12. I definitely agree with that. So I think the getting built over generic system helped a lot too. Yeah, it definitely has. I just really like that system compared to what we used to do in the past, mainly because it makes it more realistic to the type of players that will be on those teams. You know, um, back then, some teams, like if somebody wanted to stack Iowa up real crazy, they could do that. But realistically, you're not gonna see Iowa get stacked up like that with some true freshmen. So I just really like this new system. It's easier to just build and go straight from there. Get guys created. Literally, it took, if everyone was at the stream that submitted a player during the player creation stream, we could have had everyone built already in one day. So and that got handled really well. So yeah, man, I think this system is definitely here to stay, man. I don't see me going back to the old system. Top schools, it's hard. Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be hard to get a live game, man. That's the only thing. It's just like real life, man. If you're not a top end team, it's gonna be hard to get that national televised live game.
We only
But
do 4 weeks, right?
yeah, we only can do 4 games. So like the only thing, if you don't land one of those, then the best thing, of course, is can I get a premier game? If you don't get a premier game, you just
Or
gotta hope. We said
just make the playoffs.
that too. You make the playoffs, you handle your business elsewhere, you're gonna have your game covered at some point. Is it gonna be like every year? And it's gonna be like that every year to new generic system. Yep. There is the college series plus channel. Okay, so that's about big NIL, Miami getting paid, and really because of all that NIL movement and stuff, man, it really made me start to think like, hey, man, I can't make this movement be this free. Like that's where I'm putting in a rule. I'm trying to figure out a number. Right now, I'm at 3 for the most transfers you could get to go to a school. That could even change, and we'll see. I think I'm gonna do 3 first year, and if it doesn't look like it's something crazy or that's exploitable and stuff like that, then I might knock it down at the very least 2. But 3, I think I'm gonna stick with that. Excited about Boise State. You think they got a shot this year? I don't know about that. I think they definitely got a shot at winning their conference for sure. I think they're the better team in that Mountain West Conference. Yeah, that's a link. Okay, 2 lanes. Swing. Boise State. Get transfer out. I'm good at Minnesota. Yeah. Mo Klutz. There goes Pecom. I was talking about him earlier when I covered Cincinnati. What coaches you think are okay? Same thing. Just trying to make sure I hit every question in here. So how would being undrafted work for users? So what happens if you declare, of course, you can't go back to college series, you will become an RFL free agent. So you'll be in free agency. Coaches will reach out to you if they're interested and be like, hey, man, you want to come play for my team? And, whichever coach you like, you can fill all the offers from whatever's available. Wherever you like, it's completely in your hands where you want to go. So, only as long as you're contacted, and of course if it's a team that does not have a coach, then that's where I'm gonna be reaching out to you for those CPU teams and being like, hey man, I think you would be good on this team. I'm extending a contract offer for you to be on this team, and then that's where you make your decision.
We haven't had that many users go undrafted.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, we've had a. Have we had?
I think.
I think we had a
I mean, they've
handful.
all been quarterbacks.
Yeah, QBs. Yeah.
I don't think we've had any other position go undrafted because like even like the bad receivers will just go in like the 7th.
Yeah.
Just because they're a youth.
A
I
lot of
think
it.
it's mainly the quarterbacks who go undrafted.
Yeah, definitely the QBs, man. And the thing that's going to make it more of a chance to go undrafted now, and this is the fact that you're competing with the entire nation now. You
Yeah.
can take a spot, but the thing is, I will, I got to figure that out because I mean, if there's some generics that I really would like to have in the draft class, and there's a lot of users, and they're trying to fill in on a declaration list. I think what I'm going to do is before I have the players, before I have you guys as players commit, I'm going to have like guaranteed draft eligible draft entries for generics. So it's like before you guys put in to go enter the draft, they're going to enter the draft, and then you guys fill in the rest, and then whatever's left after that, that's what I fill with the rest of the country. So can you sit in free agency and continue to upgrade your player if you're
Those no.
yeah, you can. Uh, if you're
Reloads if you're agency.
yeah, because I mean you can still show up to games, you can get reloads. Uh, now we would
Well,
have to
I thought he said without reloads.
without reloads, no. You're not gonna get any
Yeah,
in-game upgrade. You can only
yeah,
upgrade your player in free agency with reloads. That's the only way, and that's just you showing up to games, but you're pretty much stuck. For the let's see, I think yeah, it seems like dudes are answering each other's questions here. So wait, so can I create a new prospect next season at wide receiver? Even though no, once you got one player, that's it. You cannot make more. Only one player per season. No, not per season. One player, period. If you get caught creating another one, your real life player will be suspended and your other one dropped, and you could be banned. So we do not do multiple players anymore here because that takes away the opportunity for new dudes. I'm trying to catch up. You guys definitely getting active in here. That's good to see, though. Okay, I finally caught up. Yeah, Ray Brown did go undrafted. Yeah, we had some running backs I think go undrafted before, but I don't know user wise. I think user wise Ray Brown.
I don't think Ray Brown's in the league anymore.
Yeah. And it says until retired. Uh, what you?
Wasn't it like
Huh?
is this the guy who asked about like
Nah, this is
can't
a new
he?
guy.
Oh, I thought he was still talking about
I
the like
think
once you create a play, you
I
are that
think
player.
I think that's what he means. So the way you can retire from this league is, uh,
It's after you
it's
get drafted, right?
mandatory for you to serve a contract, your rookie contract, um, and your second if the coach needs you for the team or feels he does. It's completely up to the coach. I know some guys had problems with that, but we protect our teams here first. We look out for you guys, but the team is what matters the most. So if the coach feels that your player is a vital piece and he needs to keep you on the team despite you wanting to leave somewhere else, then you got to stay put. But if you talk with him and then y'all work out something, a way that he can get reimbursed some type of way from that, then it's a possibility you get traded. Or if you think your player sucks and you're like, man, what am my guy doing on the roster, man? Can you just let me go or something? And then eventually they do. If you hit free agency, then you have full control over where you go and you can retire your player. That's the only way you can retire your player is whenever you hit free agency. You hit free agency and you just like, oh, I don't like this player no more. Boom, get him out of here, make a new one, and you're good. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, also another rule out there for players to know: if you are in the RFL and you are not with the original team that drafted you, if you're a free agent that's coming in general and you got picked up, you have freedom after that contract that you're originally under expires. So like how a coach has that authority over you if they drafted you for a second contract, if that is not your original coach, your original team, by the time that contract is over, or if you're not or if you're traded, uh, you can, yeah, and that contract's over with, you can hit free agency and be like, hey, I do not want to sign back to this team. That coach cannot re-sign you back. You can hit the free agency and then take in the offers from there, or retire your player and be like, hey man, I'm done. Just follow up on last question. Bet. It's my boy Kenny, man. He goes to school with me, man, that y'all know, in the NAA. About to be some A and P's and T's out here, man. First time here. Who's the dark horse for the Heisman? I'm gonna be honest, bro. This is the biggest. This is the biggest class we've ever had, bro. So to try to decide one on who could potentially win it, it's crazy. As a dark horse, definitely can't even give an idea for that. But I do think that Jaden got a good shot to possibly win it again. Of course, you got Dylan Lewis in there. Kind of slept on for a great season he had, even though he didn't finish in the top 2 for the Heisman last year, or as we call it, the Hunter Mackey Award. Is Colorado Rivers. He finished 3rd in the Mackey Award. So yeah, it's a lot out there, man. As you saw from a couple of these rosters, and we was building teams, some of these quarterbacks, it's crazy, man. There's some stacked players out there. So be on the lookout. What if I did 4 seasons? Okay, he said, what if I did 4 seasons and declared to go undrafted and have a low overall? Could I just retire my player and just pay? Yeah. So
Well, yeah, you get free agency.
Yeah. So you're in free agency at that point. So yeah, you can retire your player, even if you just never commit. You could retire your player at any point. You have to play the season out though, but you retire your player after any season in college. But once you get to the pros, that's stamped and you're under contract now. Like your player has to be there. So yeah, the pros are a whole different ball game.
Yeah, so technically, if you really wanted to, you could play out this year, declare for the draft, go undrafted, retire, then make a new person.
Yeah, he said if you go in 4 years, you're not going undrafted, Ghost. I don't know, man. I mean, I don't see that being likely to happen, but with this big class, if you're like you've always been on a smaller school or something like that, and you're okay, but you just still not standing out, there's a chance. That's all I'm gonna say. There's a chance you definitely could not get picked up. Definitely during the mod era, most of everyone was getting drafted, but this new era is a lot more difficult. How many user coaches? How many teams had user coaches? I think we got 7. Got 7. Let me see. Alabama has a coach. Uh, Ohio State, USC, Miami, Baylor, Florida.
Clemson.
What is that? Yeah, and Clemson.
Clemson.
So that's 7. That's 7 right there that we got. We plan on to expand more on that if you are interested. After checking out this season and trying to be a coach in the RFL College Series, applications will open after the season. If you are interested, and of course the fee is half of what it is currently for RFL coaches, which is $25 a month. So you have to be able to pay that fee monthly, and that's all year. It's not only when you're playing. So that's to keep constant funding, going for the league if you're committed and holding your spot. And for the college coaches, they already know if they want to take it to that next level where they got more freedom, more ability to do things with their team. That's where you would pay the to go pro. And trust me, it's competitive in the pros, man. Even if there might not be no coaches in your division, I make sure those CPU teams are giving you their best. So, and the league is really one thing I love about the RFL, especially now, is that the league is starting to get very level, which means like we got some teams that still aren't too good, but you can't sleep on no team in the RFL. You literally can lose to any and everybody. I know that's the
The
case.
Bison.
Some people can say that. Yeah, Bison's been kind of bad, but like even them, like once I feel like once you get a couple more pieces there, and
I've been saying
get
that
the
for
right book.
years, Smitty.
But look at the
Been
piece.
saying that.
They never got there. They never got the pieces yet. They're still developing. There's still time there. They're still young, so they got a chance. He said, slide to Tulane Flame. He said, yes, I could be a coach and a player. I only allowed that this year, but moving forward, no, you cannot be a coach and a player. So you have to be in the draft or in the RFL to be able to coach at the collegiate level. So you cannot do both. And only open that up for the guys in this first year of me opening it up. And that's because those players, they had to guarantee that no matter what, they're entering the draft regardless. So whatever coach that's a player right now that you see, he has to enter the RFL draft no matter how the season goes. Smitty, do you think I could have went to the draft after my freshman year? I can't really discuss anything because I know the ratings, so like I just cannot speak on that. That's all I can say. Could you? I mean, anybody could declare whenever they want, but will you turn out like you think? Depends. Definitely depends. Want to show us slower schools being top running back online. The pro coach Darius all for that. Pushing RFL coaching. Need more coaches. Yep, I don't think requirements for pro coach. Oh yeah, if you're trying to be a pro coach, you cannot have a player. So that's the downfall of that. So your player would have to be done. And the only way you could do that also if you be a pro coach is if your player is already in the RFL. So, and then when you do that, you forfeit any rights to that player for upgrading. So you cannot upgrade that player, nothing, while you're coaching. Yeah, I think I'm caught up, man. I think we hit every question, man. So yeah, we're gonna end it right there. Able to stretch this podcast out to an hour and 15 minutes. So was 35. So appreciate you guys tuning in, man. Again, the college series is in full effect. Our first full week starts tomorrow. And here's another look at the schedule. I'm gonna get this out the way. This as well. Once again, tomorrow, Miami versus LSU. Be there. That is going to be a banger of a game to go ahead and open up the first full week of the RFL College Series. But that's it for me. It's your boy Smitty, RFL Commissioner and play-by-play commentator, along here with Forbes, Coach Forbes of the Diablos, that is. And I'm going to catch you guys next week on the podcast and, of course, at these games. Till then, peace.